brothers is telling him, yo, listen, this is not right, exact. And so things proceed. So when he comes here, it's kind of like, yo, look, God's already told you what it is, what you came here for. I'm not going to tell you nothing, right? I'm not going to tell you. What you expect me to tell you? Oh, yeah, nah, they not right and shit. Yeah, you tell me. What do you expect me to tell you? The topic is people keeping pet snakes. Where, see, like Supreme Man said, right? You got your sword out. You got your sword out, right? For the righteous. You got your sword out. The revolution is eating his babies, but see, you got pet snakes. You got snakes that you like. And you go above and beyond letting them live, you keep them alive. You see? And what they do? Sting again and again and again and again and again. There's a difference between disagreeing and what you speaking is not Allah's teaching. You know what I'm saying? And see, Supreme, I'm gonna tell you what's disappointing, right? Is to know so we see here we have the topic. Right? We're gonna go into, what is it that you are using? What is it that you're using? Brothers is telling him, yo, listen, this is not right, exact. Do we need to turn this off? All right. What is it that you're using when you're weighing and judging whatever decisions, whatever realities, you know what I'm saying? Even in terms of teaching, right? Right? When you teaching, are you teaching from the mind or you teaching from the heart? You know what I'm saying? When you making the various decisions, right? Are you using facts, right? Or is it a bigger consideration what side of the facts that you on? You see what I'm saying? This is like when we say we not pro-black, we not pro-black or anti-white. You see what I'm saying? So even though, look, this person is black, I'm black, right? But that doesn't mean that they righteous. See, this is the science that we deal with when we come into this knowledge. Everybody, men, women, white people, black people, etc., etc. Right? Once you get this knowledge, now you got to make a choice of whether you're going to be righteous or unrighteous. That's something else. You see what I'm saying? So, what's the differences? What's the differences that you see, when people is focused on, their emotions really, you know what I'm saying? Or, even a lot of times, your interpretation. Even if you don't say it's emotions, a person has an interpretation, right, of certain events, but did you really take it to the knowledge and wisdom? Got a couple people in here. Got Gold Mine, Free Cypher, I got Sincere, Freedom, Medina. You see what I'm saying? Like, see, look, you know, uh, even in terms of, a lot of times people is weighing and judging things, right? You weighing and judging things. Are you weighing and judging it because of who this knowledge came from? Like, if the person who told you the truth, right, is a person that you don't like, right, are you less likely to accept the truth? Seven, welcome to the channel. All right, a law of life. But these is the things that happen. Don Bishop, what's the deal? Let's see if we get Jigga 1017 in here. I got some stuff that I need to me and Jigga 1017 need to build. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I see it. I see it. Recently I've been having a lot of interactions. And when I have interactions, I encounter, people and ideas, right? That, you know, I come to certain realizations. Some of them I've come to in the past, but like I said, you have more experience, and so the level of your realization of this concept grows. And so, I see different things from, uh, you know, when a person got the knowledge, uh, you know, things that have no bearing on righteousness or unrighteousness, or right or wrong, what I'm saying, just in a decision, whatever decision that you're making. Just in terms of even when we speak about some things now that is, the history of the nation, right? Some things that's the history of the nation. You see that there's people that are dispute, you know, what that is, and the things that they saying is has no bearing. Like, you saying you disputing it for this reason or that reason, but that reason doesn't really have any impact or bearing on what's being spoken on. Jay, welcome to the channel. It's been a minute. See, even when I see people now, what I'm saying, it's a brother that it's like, okay, you're building with this person, right? And that's peace. That's what we're supposed to do. But now, because the way you and this person relate, you like this person, you think that makes them qualified to do certain things. And see, when it's not that they disqualified, but it's that even people that was born in this had to grow into this. That's still a decision that they have to make on their own, right? And then they got to deal with the inner development, right? That they need to make this manifest like their parents did. It's Napalm J Quan 793rd. So see, when we dealing with the science, right, of people being qualified, you know what I'm saying, just to really even, uh, you know, in my time, you had to be qualified just to say that you was this. You know, I say my time as if I'm not here right now. That's a little bit crazy. I just caught that. You know what I'm saying? But you know, saying when I was coming into the knowledge, yeah, you had to be qualified. You know, from the jump. They see these is one of the differences, right? You know, uh, when we say that, I sincerely love the large mathematics, right? We're talking about, the actions of love. Like, see, there's people, and see that's where a lot of a lot of people study and learn a large mathematics. See, a lot of people, that's as far as they go. I study and learn a large mathematics, right? But they don't sincerely love a large mathematics because you see it in the action. See, it's not nothing. See, if you love a large mathematics, right? It's not it's not hugging and kissing. You can't hug and kiss on the supreme mathematics. You can't hold hands with the supreme mathematics. So how you going to show love, right, to a large mathematics? See, it's not all this emotional level. See, that's why it's the highest level of understanding. But see, some people is they still caught up. Like, look, some people is they pro-black. Some people is pro this area or pro that area. And this is how things is starting to be decided, where, you know, uh, that emotional kind of love can cause separation actually. All right, now I hate to get sidetracked because I'm on a good rant right now. But I gotta ask this, right? True and living. You say here that today's supreme mathematics is equality. Equality is to be just. Just is to be upright, aka moral, righteous, honorable, correct. Right? Now, when you say equality is to be just, right? What does that mean? I don't clarify that. The boss said by paying attention to supreme mathematics, is how you show love to it, you know. But see, it's so the living it out. See a lot. See, because all the odds is against a person, especially if you're not active in building your mathematics, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, what I mean is, when I'm saying like building, you know, your world around you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're doing a lot of building and you teaching a lot of people, you know, you got a family that they got the knowledge and you teaching them and everything. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, you know, when you just out there, you know, you going to work, it's all 85 and 10. You know what I'm saying? You know, you go to the parent teachers meeting, it's all 85 and 10%. So that's how easy it is for you to just blend back in as a particle in that atmosphere. You see what I'm saying? And those is a lot of the people, see, they don't sincerely love the laws of mathematics. It's really nothing that makes them adhere to it, you know what I'm saying, when the odds is really, really against them. You said being right, dealing appropriately in the circumstance. I mean, I think you need to you need to well, look, let's just do it right here, right? Somebody give me the you know, you go Webster's dictionary, Oxford dictionary. Somebody give me the definition of equality. See, true and living, I don't know if you started from there. You know what I'm saying? But you know, back in the days, that's where we started from. In the dictionary of, you know, knowing what these words mean. Joe Thornton. Is this the brother from Minnesota? That we ain't seen Joe Thornton. We ain't seen Joe Thornton in many moons. You said equality means to be equal in everything. So you got to be careful with that too. Look, what's everything? The state of being equal, especially in status, rights, or opportunities. Yeah, that is Joe Thornton, man. What's up, man? We see Joe Thornton's sister riots, man. The state of being equal, especially in status, rights, and opportunities. Mathematics, a symbolic expression of the fact that the two quantities are equal. An equation, plural or noun, right? See, Joe Thornton said, "Show me what you won't quit on, and I'll show you what you love." Now, look, we've got to take this to the next level, then, right? Because all of these definitions don't really. So now define, we have to define equal. Let's get the definition of equal up here. Well, yeah, if you look at these definitions, that, you gave some, other brothers looked this up, right? It doesn't mean what you said. But true light, I mean, true and living, what does, what is everything? Goldmine said equality is the equal opportunity for every black man to become God. So equal is of the same measure, quantity, amount, or number as another, identical in mathematical value or logical denotation, equivalent like in quality, nature, or status. You said everything is all. Well, look, I mean, because see, you got that definition right there out the lessons, right? See, the universe is everything, sun, moon, and stars. So see what that tells me, right? Is that in the heavens above, right? In the on the universal level, right? Of, you know, each one of us being a self-sustaining unit, right? We equal in that foundation. But see, in the things that we accomplish, right, and even the things that we are, like, see, I'm 6'2", right? I don't know how tall you are. You see what I'm saying? I had the knowledge a certain amount of time. You probably didn't have the knowledge that same amount of time. You know, as men, women, and children, right? Sun, moon, and stars, right? The access that we both have to all the tools that surround us to build our own heaven or make our own hell, right? We equal in all of that. But see, that's where in my this is me talking here, right? In my this is where some people get it twisted. Where see, look, we was equal up until the point that we got that lesson, right? Now, once we got to that lesson, right, what did I do with it, and what did you do with it? See, that's only going to be equal if we live the same culture. You see what I'm saying? If we have the same love for large mathematics. See, this is how you see people, you know, various times, they come to the rally, and or whatever, they on the internet, wherever they at. And they speaking in certain terms and terminology, and yeah, that's what people is wondering. Who even is this person? You know, where's the fruit? Where's the fruit that was born? Where's the fruit that was born for us to pay attention to? You said being just in all that I do, come across, deal with, they get the same. I do the knowledge first before the wisdom. I mean, I doubt you do that, guy. And if you do, you know, my suggestion would be that you stop. See, your equality with this person right here can't necessarily be your equality with this person right here. There's no way, God. Because see, some people is God and some people is the devil. So how you going? How you going? There's no way for all of these people to get the same equality thing. I suppose there's some equations, but I can't draw up a scenario right now, right, where you could treat everybody the same way. See, like that's one of the things about the internet, right? You know, having this, yeah, this is a situation where see, what I'm speaking, I'm speaking to everybody. So you got to be careful of what you're saying, right? Because this is not my platform, right? This is YouTube, so they can pull the plug whenever they want. True and Living said, "I don't mean identical." Well, I mean, what do you mean, God? You said the same. You know, I'm just asking you to clarify. You said everyone gets dealt with respectfully. That's for sure. Now I can understand that. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, my default condition is respectful, a man of respect. You know what I'm saying? You have to earn my disrespect. You gotta do something. Like I'm not going to just, you know. I don't understand the other concept really. Like I hear people saying it, but I mean, you know, like I said, that's my default condition. But that don't mean that that's gonna end up being my equality, right, with everybody that I come in tune with, right? Because some people are gonna abuse that respect, right, or they're gonna attempt to, and then our equality is gonna be different. Equality is not about sameness; it's about balance. It means each guy, each earth, each child get what they need to grow, build, and shine. I hear that. Don Bishop said, I deal with my seeds in fairness and balance, yet I don't treat them the same way. There's a different there's a difference between my son and daughter. They are not equal. So True and Living said I balance out how much equality is dealt to who or what depending on the circumstances. Right. So then listen, what that means is that you don't treat them the same. See, let me tell you the easiest way to handle these kind of things, right? The easiest way to handle these kinds of things is to just say, uh, you know, uh, I was wrong. You know, I mean, how you manifest it, you know, is one thing, but or however you choose to manifest it is however you choose to manifest it. But I'm just saying that uh, you can't explain to me how you saying that you treat everybody the same and you saying that you treat everybody different is the same thing. See, that's when I start to think that you're ridiculous. You see what I'm saying? See, Shaka Lulu hit on something right there. Treating them the way they treat themselves. See, that's what look. That's kind of what the live earlier today was about. That sometimes people get upset when you treat them the way they treat themselves. Nah, God, that's what you said. Hold on. Let me come back. Let me see if I can. See these. Let me set to this. It's coming up on the screen right there. You said equality is to be just, upright, moral, righteous, honorable, and correct. Being right, dealing appropriately in the circumstance. Okay, so look, use equality in a sentence, right, where it means just, upright, moral, righteous, honorable, correct. Use it in a sentence where that's what it means. Listen, Shaka Doodle, look, it's it's I don't know, man. I don't know. You said I deal in equality to everyone I encounter. So you saying you deal in right to everyone you encounter? Like you deal in justness? with everyone you encounter? Is that what you're saying that equality means in that sentence? Okay, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. See, here's the thing. Everybody's equality is not righteous. That's not what equality means. You're telling me about your equality, but you didn't put that in any of the sentences. You just said equality. If you're saying, my equality, the example that I provide, the experience that people have amongst me is this. But that's your equality that you're describing. That's not what equality means. And see, I'm saying that if you're teaching, right, you gotta teach. If you teaching some young people, you gotta teach them that that's not everybody's equality. That we still got the wisdom knowledge degree to the 33rd degree in the 1 and 40. And those people, their equality is going to be different. You said they all still get respect. Like I said, that's your equality. That's not what equality means. See, look, in the supreme alphabet, right? You got equality and you got justice. Are you going to tell me now that justice means equality? Because if equality means just, then justice must mean equality. Is that what you're saying, true and living? You say, no, justice is the reward or penalty received for your actions. That's the equality that will be dealt to self. Yeah, God, look, you word salading right now. Listen, I know I'm old school. I know. I know this is going to take a wild stretch of the imagination, right? But imagine if I was 5 years old, right? Now explain it to me now. Cause see, even I don't understand what you just said right there. After 40 years, right? After 40 years, that's the equality that will be dealt to self. See, look, equality is the balance of your dealings. You know what I'm saying, with whatever person or entity or whatever. You know what I'm saying. That's the balance of the dealings. You know what I'm saying? Like the balance of my dealings with some people is that's a limitation. I'm saying I see what you're saying. See, when you deal with justice, right, you got the two scales, right? And there's a balance of the things that's on that scale, right? Whatever is being weighed and judged, right? There's a balance of whatever that you weighing out to see, what hold the most weight. I understand the relationship. You said if you get up and on time for school, your parents won't yell at you, punish you, won't take your game away. So get up on time. I mean, now this is let me give you an example of what I'm saying, right? How the equality is different. Now, there's some homes, right, that we know that the parents don't care nothing about school either. So the equality is different. See, like I said, you got knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, man, woman, and child, right? But what's their culture amongst each other? Like it was just a story. Don Bishop, matter of fact, it was out around your way somewhere, where two cousins, two cousins, uh, one cousin unalived the other cousin, unalived the other cousin, and then unalived herself. So see, that's they dealings with each other. That's what I'm saying. Is that we don't necessarily know what that equality is. We just know that there's a balance of dealings between, any two things, right? Whether we talking about, uh, you know, we exchanging, we exchanging, uh, money for some type of item or service, right? And then sometimes we would say, okay, look, we don't like this balance, right? We feel like we've been gypped, right? Because we don't think that what we got, right, balance out in this deal with what we gave up for that. But yo, look, that's some of the stuff, man. I'm telling you, look, it's those basic kind of things like that see it's the further you go along. You know what I'm saying? The further you go along, see, because mathematics helps you to identify what everything is. You know what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with simple things, then you know you might could be a little off. But see, the further you go in life, you know what I'm saying? You start to see, like, if you start off just 3 degrees off course, right? When you first take off, you won't see the difference. But if you was trying to land on the moon, you might miss the whole moon, because as you go, that the distance, right, that angle consists of starts growing. You said that happens all the time. Family doing dirt to each other. Family because they feel they are not being treated equally, and they deal out what they see as justice. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That you have the people in the family. You know what I'm saying? You know, uh, mothers. Fathers, mothers, whatever. See, they got a certain amount of power. What do they use their power to do? How their equality was amongst each other and all of that, that's to be decided by the individuals that's dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I always say, on the planet Earth, you got righteous people and unrighteous people, and then you got various situations. And these are the things that we see in the Bible, in the Quran, in 120 lessons. We see these various situations, and we see how righteous people handle that situation and how they came out, and we see how unrighteous people handle that situation and how they came out. And then we could draw up uh, how we want to proceed, you know what I'm saying, in the same or similar situations that might arise in this day and time with the people that's around us. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, all of these things is dynamic. That's why you gotta have, the supreme math, the 120 you gotta have on cap, because things is dynamic. You see what I'm saying? When you go into a situation, you know, you gotta know whether you're dealing with Yakub or Musa, right? You gotta know whether you're dealing with the original man or the half original man. You know what I'm saying? You dealing with Columbus, you know what I'm saying, or whoever. Because see, all of that makes a difference in what the equality is. That's good. Actually, man, it's been we need to do that, because we get into a lot of times all these other topics. You know what I'm saying, and you know things that people do, right? And then just like I was saying already, right? I sincerely love and love mathematics. When do we get around to dealing with that? See, sometimes we gloss over that. That used to be, I mean, it still is. But I'm saying how active people was with, just having and making the supreme mathematics be first and foremost. Where, uh, you know, if it was somebody you knew, then what's today's supreme mathematics was pretty much the second thing that was said. That you say peace, how you see today's supreme mathematics. You know what I'm saying? If it was somebody you didn't know, you know what I'm saying, then you might say, yeah, my name is Darkim be Allah. What's your name? Right? Right? You might say, I'm from over here, where you from? And then you probably say, what degrees you knowledge. And then after that, how you see today's supreme mathematics, that was yeah, that is what you did when you entered the lab. You took it straight to the math. But that's one of the big things right there is that, even out there in the world, see, like I said, people, they understand. I won't say they understand. They understand the concept of 120. They can look at it and they can see these stories. You know what I'm saying? They can see certain things, like MGT and GCC, that Elijah is doing. You know what I'm saying? But, with the supreme math, right? A lot of people just think it's like lingo. When it really comes down to, you know, uh, using the mathematics, uh, to understand the reality around you and to be able to predict your own reality. A lot of people don't know about that. And a part of that is it goes back to the title of the live. You know what I'm saying? Is that they focus on the feel good feeling. They never actually get to the facts and reality, right? Of what we're dealing with. You know, they mostly just focus on Wu Tang just came out with another album, or whatever thing they into, right? But this thing has happened, or you at college, and because the supreme mathematics and you able to break down certain lingo, you a popular person on campus, and that type of stuff, but you never actually get to the real facts, and you never get to the actual uh, mindset. See, that's the real thing you got to be tagged in on. See, that's why I send people to the mosque. If they come and ask me, for the lessons, I send them to the mosque. That's what you want. Why not go to the source? why you came here for? That's not. See, the only thing I can tag you in on is telling you who you are. So the part of the equality that we deal with in our culture is asking questions of self and others. Some people do not like being questioned. They get in their feelings about that. I mean, the funny thing about those people is they always wonder, uh, they don't understand that, that's a part of being a family. You know what I'm saying? And a part of being a nation. Like a lot of times you would see that these same people, uh, they got a lot of questions about, the way things happen. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, a lot of times people put the nation in a kind of vacuum, right? Where there's some kind of expectation that is not consistent with reality. You see what I'm saying? Meaning, like, look, here's an example. You got people that want to step up and, speak as if they some kind of leadership, right? But then, like you said, you don't want to be asked no questions. But look, when somebody runs for president, don't they dig into their whole life? Like, when is, ever it's a leader, like, if you're going to be the leader of a street gang, can't be paperwork on you. Not that people know about. Like, at the end of the day, man, you know what I'm saying? If you want followers, you got to promise them you're going to do something. Why they following you for? And that's what a lot of these people, they want followers. Now, this would be my, you know, if I was their friend, right? I would ask them, why would you look for followers amongst people that call themselves God? That just don't, that don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, why would you look for doctors amongst people that call themselves lawyers? Like, I don't think you're gonna find a whole lot of followers amongst people that call themselves God. I would just, but maybe that's just my thinking. I don't know what y'all think. Yeah, yo, Shaganu, I'm getting fresh with the thumbnails now, right? You noticing that? I see. I got a little app. If you ask someone to borrow money, somebody ask somebody ask you what you need it for. I remember my youngest daughter when she was uh about 5 years old, 6 years old. I asked her for $1. She asked me what I needed for. Girl, what's wrong with you? See how why I said leaders that are beyond question are dictators or the Christian God. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And once again, right? I just wouldn't advise somebody to go trying to dictate to people that call themselves God. Like, if that's what they think. Just like, look, you know how you don't go play games in places where dudes over there call themselves gangsters. They don't go playing over there like that. They probably not going to be with it. It's the same thing. I don't know why anybody would look for followers amongst people that call themselves God, but that's what happens. See, it's a fine line, but look, you got to become and remain civilized. Whether a person has the knowledge of self or not, right? When you go out into the world, right, you're meeting that person for the first time. So see how I say much is given, much is required. You haven't given this person nothing yet. So now, if this person questions you, why are you telling me this? What makes you qualified to tell me this? What have you done with this knowledge that you're giving me right now, telling me to go according to it? But you coming up to them, requiring them to change their mindset, right? Change from, if they dealing with religion, change their dietary law, all of this, right? Without you being subject to having to show and prove. See, at a certain point, you start to employ all the same principles. See, like we're gonna have a live stream coming up, right? We're gonna have a live stream coming up where, uh, you know, we speak on it. We're gonna speak on someone, right? Not myself, but someone who has an idea that, uh, you know, uh, everything in the universe, right, comes from a black hole, in outer space. So at the end of the day, you still teaching me about something that I cannot see, invisible. And you saying you saying that this is the origin. You know, there also was an idea that, uh, there's other galaxies out there, right? That our galaxy and that galaxy rotate around each other, right? And that, uh, in the midst of this revolution that they're making around each other, right? Up until recent times, they were a far distance from each other. And so, because of the far distance from each other, uh, there was less radiation, and that was what caused the colored man to be able to exist. And as the galaxies start to come closer together, right? As the galaxy starts to come closer together, that the radiation is going to increase, right? And we're going to get into, when we get to that live stream, we're going to get into the various effects, right? But what's the difference between that and searching for whatever trillions of years until this thing come back? And then what happens if that other galaxy happens to float past, right? According to this what was being spoken, this is one of my questions. What happens if that galaxy happens to float past a black hole, right? And that galaxy gets destroyed? Then what happens? We never get salvation. See, all this stuff is odd to me, right? Because that's just not, and that's one of the points I'm gonna be making, is that, you know, I don't know that to be, I don't know that to be Allah's teachings. I don't know that to be Elijah's teachings. you know, and this is one of those situations, right? And this is what I'm saying. We're okay. How you weighing and judging this? Because one of the things that I know the brother who said that to say, right, is that, oh well, you know, the reason why you don't want to be a witness to it is because all you know is the white man science. But it's like, I'm fairly sure, well look, the bar is in the room. You know what I'm saying? We got a couple. I don't know if the bar is still in. But look, I ain't never heard the original man talking about that. I ain't never listen. Where's the papyrus, the papyrus? Where's the hieroglyphics with that concept on it? The bar. Have you ever heard? Have you ever heard about about? We need firsthand. We need firsthand information. We need firsthand information, man. See all these people that be telling you all these stories of creation. See, that's one of the first things. Don't listen to nobody like that. Somebody that's pretending that they know what happened in the beginning that never began. Don't listen to those people. See, because that's when you start getting into things, right? That when you got to stand on it, right? When you got to stand on it, you can't. See, the phrase seeing is believing. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, you know, that we also going to be addressing is, how some people is just believing, without seeing. How can you base a science of reality, right? How can you base the science of reality on things that haven't been shown and proven? Nah, that's not Lorenzo. That was Born Mastermind. Born Mastermind has some quite wild concepts that he was teaching, uh, that I guess everybody else missed. You know what I'm saying? There was some super wild concepts that he was teaching, such as that eating food that's white will turn you into the colored man. Also, I don't know that to be our teachings. Now we can, of course, right? There's been many discussions, right, about, you know, where we say colored man come from, but I know it's not what he said. To the point where he said, "Oh, you was there when he said that." See, that's what. Look, thank you, man. See, because this is what happens. There's been some form of mental blockage going on, where for some reason people miss that. These are the type of things he said. I asked him, right? He said, "Look," he said that we've been in America eating eating the white man's diet for over 400 years, right? Oh, you saw the video too, Shakanulu. That's that's so look. So I'm not. I thought I was gonna have to reintroduce this to everyone. I may not even need it. And see, the thing is, I'm not even talking about him really. That's the wild thing. See, I just want people to see that, because when it gets portrayed that, oh, you just didn't like him, or this reason, like, nah, 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 wait a minute. Maybe I missed all this. He said, he said, we've been eating the white man diet for for over 500, 400 years. So if we keep doing that in less than 400 years, we're going to be colored people. He was in a law school saying that. So I asked him, I said, what about Hashim? How do you get around that? Because after 400 years, if what you're saying is true, Hashim shouldn't exist. I shouldn't exist. And guess what? Guess what? The magical thing was to save you from becoming a colored man. Look, I'm going to leave that question open. That's open to the room. What was the magical thing that you needed? What was the magical thing that you needed to save yourself, right, and your family from becoming colored people in less than 200 years? The comment box is wide open. You say you don't have a clue. See, Shakanulu, you must have seen the videos. Yeah, you needed his carbon-based diet. You needed his carbon-based diet in order to be able to absorb the radiation. The radiation that would be coming off the other solar system that we waiting trillions of years to get back over here so we could be saved. But see, it just was an instance where, because that's what bugs me out. Like, yo, this is a decade. Like, certainly something has had to happen since then. Like, why are we still talking about this? Why are we still even talking about this? Yeah, he went on Shine at it, talking all that same stuff. And see, nobody did the knowledge to none of that. What is Suha 7? But yeah, it was just quite a number of things to where when we get into the live and you see all the excerpts of people talking, you know, um, I wonder how many of those people did the knowledge to anything else. You know what I'm saying? How many of those people, if you made a judgment on that, have you ever had a conversation with me about that? Have you ever had a conversation with him about that? Because the things you're saying is not true. Who you saying got that, Medina? But like I said, it's really not even about him. You know what I'm saying? It's just about uh, look, if people gonna keep talking about it, man, look, at least get our names right. Um, it's possible. I don't know nothing about what happened to him. I don't know nothing about what happened to him. You know what I'm saying? But I do know that uh, uh, a lot of people got a misconception. Uh, a lot of people got a misconception about what people's goals are when they come around us. See a lot. Yeah, that was a while back. But yeah, that was one of the things. Yeah, I was a part of that. That's one of the reasons I don't look at the show. That's one of the reasons I don't watch the show, man. But yeah, I play my little role. I play my little role in that part of the time. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, you know, because that was the kind of out of everything, right? That kind of was the phrase. That was kind of the phrase that kind of came out of that, right? Is we don't teach that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, right? A lot of times when I get, you know, uh, when people was talking about it, it's like, yeah, well, what it is, what was it that he was teaching, right? That we don't teach. And I'll be shocked. Like, have you ever listened to him? And so really that's who really is these things is towards. It's towards all the people that took it on face value, right? Because things can be good or bad. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see somebody do something good for somebody, and you like, yo, why'd they do that? But you don't know the relationship between those two people. Like all you seeing is this moment right here, right? You seeing how they interacting right now, but you don't know through the history of time, right, what their relationship is. So yeah, we're gonna cover that. We're gonna focus on the facts of that. You know what I'm saying, and not just the feelings. A lot of people, look, it happens. Where a person is like he had his people that liked him, and for me that was one of the things that I thought enabled me to see through him is that I'm not vegan. Like, see, he's coming around and he's talking about the vegan diet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that ain't really. It didn't impress me like that. I was able to see through that and see these things that he's saying that's not true. He said labor is effort of the body, wealth is the command of thought, money obeys thought, not time. Most men sell their hours to another man's vision because they don't understand this. The mind is the factory of fortune. I mean, that's like a that's like an Instagram post right there. Cypher King was the deal. But I mean, getting back to the title of the live though, you know, uh, with every lesson, you always gotta apply it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You always gotta apply it to yourself so that you don't be a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? Like, the brother I was talking about earlier, that it's like, you have all this stuff that you accuse people of, but you're the person that's most guilty of committing all the things that you saying is wrong. So at the end of the day, you know, each time we making a decision, any individual, right? If you making a decision, you got to weigh and judge it. Are you, agreeing with this because you like this person, or because what they manifesting is actually the truth? You know what I'm saying? Are you considering this act to be righteous because of who this person is, or because what they doing is righteous? You know what I'm saying? You know, is your goal, if you approach these facts and circumstances, right? Is your goal to destroy something or to build something? See, some people is more interested in vanquishing their enemy than winning. Some people is more interested, like, they call it the drama. Where people is more interested in knowing who was wrong in a situation than who was right. Like, if you tell a story, if you tell somebody, yo, I was at the gas station today, you know what I mean? And, you know, this person was getting belligerent with this person, but the dude who he was getting belligerent with, yeah, he was mad calm. Like, he didn't bite, he just got in his car and drove off. See, a lot of people don't want to hear that story. But if you tell them, yo, this dude was in the gas station minding his business, and yo, this other dude just walked up and started saying, yeah, la, 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 and he grabbed the stick and all. See, now they wouldn't hear that. I'm saying, I do YouTube. So so I can tell you for sure they want to hear the second story. So see, these is the things that when you approaching the situation, what it is. That's what I'm saying. So like I'm saying, like, all right, this person over here is talking, right? Now when you listening, right, are you already listening for what's gonna be wrong because you don't like this person? Robbie, the world is yours. Shit, that's what happens a lot. People die in that same sword they swinging. Gotta rise to seven and keep the balance. Yeah. And it's all these different things. You know what I'm saying? You know, emotions, beliefs, interpretations, all these different things, right? That you putting on the scale that don't really measure righteousness. See, that's why we not pro-black or anti-white, because you can't measure righteousness by complexion. Cause see, you know what's gonna happen if you try to do that? As soon as we get in the room, where there ain't no colored people, then we gonna start noticing. Yeah, see, you ever notice light skinned brothers and they funny, man. They see, that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen when you try to do that. See, plus, this knowledge is not this knowledge is for all the human families. You know, everybody who accept it, you know what I'm saying, and love Allah's mathematics, you know what I'm saying, is they included in the people that we teach. You know what I'm saying? They included in the people that come amongst us and be a part of this family. Yeah, I guess that is what it is. It's you know code switching and everything else, man. Code switching and everything else, man. But we'll see what happens with them. You said, who is it that you know that is amongst the righteous but may not be being right? Who you talking about generally? I mean, see, that's the thing. They not amongst the righteous. Don Bishop, you crazy. But these people is not amongst the righteous. You know, uh, invariably, these is people that's on the outskirts for whatever reason or the other. Um, I mean, most of them I would consider 85s. You know what I'm saying? But they consider themselves 5%. You know what I'm saying? And some of them may have uh, just enough experience, amongst the five. Like, they've been seen around before. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that you know them, right? But they've been seen around before. Yeah, pretty much. They out on the outskirts of town, you know, saying what they, saying various uh things that, like Shaka Noodle said earlier, being the one-eyed man. They out there being the one-eyed man in the valley of the blind. said they destroying with their power. I mean, a lot of them don't know. From what I've seen, right? A lot of them never truly internalize the knowledge of being God. You understand what I'm saying? And the way that they even describe themselves being God is still from a religious standpoint. You know what I'm saying? The expectations that they have, right, of somebody who says that they God is still based on the mystery God concept that they have in their mind. You understand what I'm saying? So, even, people would say, well, if you God, why are you experiencing the world too? You know what I'm saying? Rather it's positive or trials and tribulations, why are you experiencing the world like the rest of us? That's based on the science of this magical God. You understand what I'm saying? But uh, that's one of the things. I don't know if that still happens, right? I don't know if that still happens, but the 85s would ask us to do ridiculous things. You know what I'm saying? Or even the Muslims at times. You know what I'm saying? Would say stuff like, uh, if you God, then make a butterfly. Don't ask me to make a butterfly. You pray to your God 5 times a day, and he ain't made a butterfly for you yet. Tell him I'm not. That's like you go in one store and pay your money, and then you go to the other store and inspect the merchandise. Go ask your God to do that. And then when he don't do it, disqualify him like you tried to do to me. I'm not your God. Don't ask me for nothing. All I told you that you was God. Now you gotta go handle your business. Don't ask me for nothing. Alex Johnson, welcome to the chat. Darkim, where's we need Jigga 1017 in here. No one's seen Jigga 1017. I can't see how you God yet you depend on someone else for food, clothing, and shelter, and have no skills. I mean, look, uh, one of the things with the knowledge, right, is that you gotta be prepared in the realm of 6, right, in order to get to the realm of 7. Like you gotta cover that distance. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you know, you you twinkle your nose like I Dream a Genie, and then you get to 7. You know what I'm saying? So you have to prepare yourself for that role that you got to play. You know what I'm saying? Because you God in the realm of 7 and all that, but you got to be God in the realm of 6 too. You know what I'm saying? And in order to be able to navigate that world, you know what I'm saying, we had the instructions from Allah that everybody was supposed to go to school or learn a trade or 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 get a job. You know what I'm saying? So that you could be prepared, to navigate in the world of 6, and not get caught up in the world of 6 and make yourself subject to the prison houses that Yakub built for our people. You know what I'm saying? As well as, other trials and tribulations that one could get caught up out there, trying to medicate their problems away, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? So, that is, unfortunately, right? When you don't accept the lesson the easy way, lessons don't go away. They just come back the hard way. So, uh, that's a science, but that's one of the things that I'm saying, right? That people might know a 5%, right? That's their condition, right? That's in that situation, right? But do they know that that's not a 5% thing? You know what I'm saying? This is a person who didn't, uh, take heed to some of the first instructions. Where like I said, when you young, you don't understand some of these instructions because they coming from somebody that's 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. You know what I'm saying? So you 15, you're not gonna understand that part. You hear it, you and we should be told that. Brothers used to tell me that look, I already know you're not gonna understand what I'm saying. Don't worry about that. Just put it up here. It's gonna come back to you one day. You know what I'm saying? And so that happens with some of those practical lessons that Allah was teaching. You know what I'm saying? Because He could see the future. Not saying on no crystal ball thing. I'm just saying that if He's dealing with people that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, if He's dealing with them, He's already been those ages. You know what I'm saying? He's already experienced the things that they haven't experienced yet, and He knows what would make it easy and what could make it much harder. So positive elevation always correct errors. We see what happens. You know, that's I don't that's something else though too that you know I hear Earth saying this kind of stuff. you know, I don't really be I don't know where y'all find these people. But that's kind of going into a whole other thing. Things that it's the system is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So right now, a lot of people is the experience that they having with the system. Uh, is they being faced with these types of situations that you're talking about. But so yeah, we got any questions? Any questions, man, about this one, or about this one, or anything else? You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, when it comes down to it, we can talk about everybody else. But we have to ask ourselves this question. What happens when I focus on facts versus feelings? You know what I'm saying? You know, how do my decisions come out? See all this stuff, man. You gotta gain inner knowledge. You gotta gain inner knowledge that then you could apply. You can look at different things. You know what I'm saying? Where you could say, what happened when I made that decision out of anger. You know what I'm saying? Or what happened when I was a little too happy-go-lucky. You know, I'm all in the moment. You know, around snakes, man, thinking they like me or something. What happens, right, when I make decisions based on that, and what happens when I make decisions based on the facts. You know what I'm saying? When I weigh and judge things, you know, when I build my understanding, you know what I'm saying, based on the facts, and when I build, my understanding based on emotions. you know what is the outcome of that, right? When I apply that judgment, when I say, yo, should I go left in this situation or should I go right in this situation? you know what's is my mind clouded where I can't see the light clearly? Shit, when you focus on facts, you hurt others feelings as well. Look, that's another, it's the question still falls back on you, right? Because it's like, okay, you're gonna hurt that person's feelings, but then it's like, are you gonna be sad about that? You know what I'm saying? Like you're still the one that's making the decision, based on feeling sorry for that person. So I mean, and people who don't want to work or pay child support use the system to get to a better position and not live on it as a big man. I mean, yeah, I mean, pretty much you said it all. I mean, some people never, uh, some people never was exposed to, uh, like, I guess just examples of what they supposed to be doing. Look, with a lot of stuff, man, it just comes down to, look, you know, Allah had big plans for us. You know what I'm saying? You hear about the things that he say. You know what I'm saying? The babies is the greatest. You know, his best is yet to come. You know what I'm saying? And these various things. You know what I'm saying? He had big plans for us. I'm saying? And in a lot of ways, you know, like I said, is you immersed in, you know, uh, the way of life of America. You know, and you know whatever part of America that you in. You know what I'm saying? And if you in a part of America where that's the way of life, you could easily be caught up. Time is definitely now. Said the wilderness is where it gets wild at. I mean, now you right. I'm agreeing with you, right? I'm agreeing with you 100%. But I'm actually just for the people, right? You know, everybody might not be here with us, right? You know, where's the wilderness though? Said Allah's idea isn't known to those who don't know who the true and living God is. Yeah, I mean, in general, there's just, you know, because when you out there, the things that people is experiencing, you can experience some of the knowledge and wisdom. You know, you can be exposed to the supreme mathematics and the supreme alphabet. You know what I'm saying? You could be, you know, exposed to some of the ways that we use it. Smell good. The wilderness is in these people's minds. That's where it gets real wild. That's where, listen, that's what I'm talking about, man. You ever have a conversation with somebody and be like, damn, man, this the kind of shit you think about? Or even some of the stuff that people be doing, right? Like, you ever hear, like, somebody get arrested, right? Let's not say no names. But let's just say a hypothetical person gets arrested, and then you hear about the stuff that they was doing, what they got arrested for. And you be like, yeah, how you even thought of that? Like, how you, like, sometimes a person A will come up to me and tell me how a person B did them dirty. And in my mind, I be thinking, damn, how the fuck did person B even think of that? Like, like my mind don't even work in that way. Where, like, what made you think that that was an option? We'll put that, we'll put, yo, bro, I listen, I watch YouTube, man. Like, just a lot of just various stuff. I've had conversations with people where, or even look, some of these concepts that we have, some of these concepts that we have, Like some of these pronouns, right? How they thought of that? How they how they like that's the real wilderness. When you have a conversation with somebody and you pay their mind a visit. Like see Lamel and his Yakub club, that is deep in the fucking wilderness. Deep in the wilderness. But first of all, with him, as he's talking, right? You know how you got like a sign. You know how you got like a sign with flashing lights, and like it'd be like different colors that come on, but they coming on right after another one. When you talking to him, personalities is popping out like that. You talking to him, and the personalities is just flashing on and off, but different personalities. Farm Bank of Haiti. Now we should say luncheon too. That was a slang hit. He's after lunch. I mean, I get his point. Oh look, it's Jigga 1017. Look, Jigga 1017. I have some stuff here. I have some materials. I have some materials that I need you to check this here out. We have to review these. We're gonna have to review these right here. Look. You know what I mean? It's been nice knowing y'all. A great. It's been great. It's been great knowing y'all. The live stream and the way it's been going. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's been all love. But I don't know. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see that? Hold on. I don't know. Is that backwards? See, I got my minister's materials here. See, it looks good. You can see that. See, look at this here. See, we're going at this. I got my ministers. The next live stream. I'm gonna see. I don't know where to buy one, but I get a bow tie. Hold on, I have. Look, I got the whole cannon. See this? Um, I'm about to join. I'm about to join forces with the used to bees. See this? have my ministry, my ministry materials here. You see this? Me and my big brother Elijah about to make this happen. Me and my big brother Elijah. Yeah, I guess these is Melchizedek. Melchizedek, you know, I guess he's the original because when you look inside, you see he got his business card is in it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I need Figure 1017 for you to make sure, you know, we need this stuff to be authenticated. we don't want to be getting false information. You know what I'm saying? You see, I got that. You see, we got the cover and all that there. You know what I mean? See, they began in Detroit. Yeah, there it goes right there. Can you see that? That's Mel. That's Melchizedek's card right there. You know what I mean? Got Bernstein Sharif Muhammad right there. You go right there. Some of the first women in the early 1930s in the NOI. That's what I'm saying. Hey, look, I got how to attain the highest moral respect. First, be obedient to Allah and His apostle. Separate thyself from those who hate intelligence and work in opposition to those who try to live a clean life and always got some excuse for not doing the right thing. Fault finders, those you keep away. Know that this world, the devil's civilization, is only sport and play, lying in the multiplication of wealth and children. So they're not gonna be able to handle me now. They're not gonna be able to handle me. You know. Oh, wait a minute. Got right here. The high priest. The the high priest. One thing you gotta give Melchizedek, he's a survivor. Melchizedek is like 90 or something like that. Maybe more. Woo! Look at these lessons. I don't know if y'all can see that on the top right there. It says, to the minister class of number 1 Michigan, August 28, 1935, Wilderness of North America. Lesson of the hour, How to become successful ministers of Islam. See that? So when y'all see me with my bean pods, just stop and cop and then pop. That's right. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. But once I complete my studies, once I once I complete my studies, then I'll be yeah, I can catch me down at temple number 7. Or should I just be like Marvin Muhammad? Should I jiggy 1017? Should I just be like Marvin Muhammad? So where's these right here? Have these been authenticated? Jiggy 1017? You said he forgot to sell proper handling of people. Nah, he got that. Hold on, I got the whole cannon, son. this is this is I got the complete files. I got the complete files. Told you, man. Can't mess with me. Hey, look. If you coming, that ain't gonna be saying it's me, man. So if y'all don't see me, if I don't do the live stream tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? I might be up on the mothership with Elijah. I might be up on the mothership with Elijah, you know, studying the scrolls. She said W.F. Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad are mentioned in the flag. Notice Noble Drew Ali isn't mentioned. Um, W.F. Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad is mentioned in what flag? Yeah, I like Marvin Muhammad. Marvin Muhammad don't be playing. Get out of here. Marvin Muhammad was on the New York podcast. You know, I'm supposed to be going on the New York podcast soon. Maybe as soon as next week. Because uh, some things were said over there that, you know, I didn't I need to clarify. Yeah, so I said me and Elijah, we're gonna be doing our thing up on the mothership. In the history Sham God gave, it mentions Elijah and Fard. Yeah, you have to. I can't think of where that's at. In regards to the star in the crescent, yeah, nah, I don't recall that part of it. I must have the FOI training manual. I got the minister's training manual. I don't think I got the FOI. I don't say FOI. But don't you have to be FOI to be a minister? Yeah, nah, I don't know. Arabi, you still on? Where is Fard and Elijah mentioned in the history Sham God gave? You said Ryan had to take him out the Bible. Yeah, I gotta see this, man. Look, as soon as I get off of this, I gotta see. I gotta see what happened with that. Cause usually Marvin be bombing. Oh, I didn't even know about that challenge. The center man got 50,000 for anyone who can prove he's not the center man. Well, so yeah, I got my materials right here to go over. You know what I'm saying? I'll be checking that out. But so tomorrow we back in the building. You know what I'm saying? Just remember, uh, you know, the title of this live stream. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that you're measuring your focus. You see what I'm saying? Like that's one thing about having a system that you do things by. You know what I'm saying? When you use a system to do things, then when things start to go wrong, you could just go back to the pattern that the system is. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, break everything back down to the basics. You see what I'm saying? So, uh, when you got a system, a pattern on how you deal with things and how you break things down, and then you got to weigh that and judge that for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we weigh and judge the people around us because they can have an effect on us. You know what I'm saying? And they're crashing out, they can crash into you. So we pay attention to that, but first we have to pay attention to ourselves first. You know what I'm saying? And just realize, you know, uh, rather we making decisions, or rather we accepting something as truth. You know what I mean, or whatever it is. Are we using the actual facts and circumstances? You know what I'm saying? Or, are we using some other type of belief or interpretation or emotion? You know what I'm saying? That first of all, all of those things is very changeable. You know what I'm saying? You can't change the facts. You said in his walk with the Father in justice, he explained that. Yeah, I had to see it again. I don't recall. Uh, I don't recall anything about Father Elijah. So Ron Brown asked him to get out the Bible and show him proof in the supreme wisdom, and Marvin basically took her for the Earth to Pluto, only to say because I said so. Hey man, sometimes that's what it comes down to. Al Kim Salam. New Jeebus. Where's New Jeebus? I was just trying New Jeebus. Is that New Jerusalem? This man from Patterson? He said, nah, man, look, I got blessed with this catalog right here. So that's a good thing when you're righteous. They hit me with this right here. That's what I'm saying. Mag is Jersey is big. I've been in Trenton. I've been in Lakewood. I've been all over New Jersey. All right, yeah, Mag from Patterson. You just say that, man. Is it? No doubt. But man, listen. I don't know if y'all would, y'all had to type one in the box, man, right here. This is uh what's the brother's name? He just asked a hell of a question. Nunez 70 said, did the devil take back Jerusalem? Woo! Woo! With what's on the news right now, that question is smoking hot. That question is smoking hot. You know, y'all gotta hey look, do y'all what is it? Because I don't get too much into the intricate details of the geopolitics. I'm aware of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it. Yeah, but you know what though? I want the regular bean pies. I don't know what it is. They got these. Well, I don't know if they new or old. You know what I'm saying? But I'm used to the regular ones. But they had some other bean pies with like all types of raisins or something in there. I don't like that. I like just the straight up bean pie. Yeah, I don't know. New Year's 70. It doesn't look. It doesn't look like people want to go into that topic per se. You know. Uh. You know. See, it's complex, but I'm gonna say that the simple answer is no. Yeah, nah, I seen the butternut squash, but I don't like that. Yeah, I think I must have been used to the vegan one because I don't remember seeing no strawberry and all that. But New Year's 70, you still there? So, you know, because we could kind of cut through. Let me try to cut through uh cream cheese bean pie. It got icing on the top. You say? Warped Team Specials. Is New Year's 70 still there? All right, so the reason why I would say no, right, is because they need the Temple Mount. Like over there where they doing the Wailing Wall, right? That is the backside of a mosque. And they need that back, right? And going into I'm not discussing whether, you know, we believe that or not, right? But they need that back in order to build the temple, right? For all they whatever they what Yakub promised them to occur. And there's still some things, because remember, there's a like a old city of Jerusalem or whatever. You know what I'm saying? A lot of older cities. Even New York got that, where the old New York, before the rest of the five boroughs was New York. The rest of the four boroughs was New York. When New York was basically just Lower Manhattan, you know, you still could go down there and see stuff from the colonial period. You know, stuff that was built in the 16, 1700s. You know what I'm saying? And in Jerusalem, there's a couple of places, right? Like there's a church there, for instance, right? The Muslims got the keys. Like in order for them to go in there and have whatever you know, services they're gonna have or whatever, the Muslims, and it's been in the hands of this family of Muslims. You know what I'm saying? So uh, you know, on the geopolitical level, you know, I understand the Iron Dome and all of that, right? But uh, there's a reason that they're still trying to destroy those people. You see what I'm saying? Because in terms of, you know, what they saying is the whole prophecy cannot take place until they get back to Temple Mount. You know what I'm saying? Or the evangelical Christian stuff and all of that, that's what all of that's based on. Is that they need to get that Temple Mount back, and then that's supposed to have something to do, you know, which they got separate predictions of what happens, what's supposed to happen if they get the Temple Mount back. But you know, without getting too complex, that's my answer. You said Palestine was the last stronghold during the Crusades. But you said they don't have one building. Just one building. Well, yeah, that one building. That I mean, the building that's Solomon's temple. That's what they saying. You know, I don't know. Uh, you know, like I said, if we, you know, if we have, you know, actual historical evidence, I know what I'm saying now. I don't want to throw people off, right? To think that I'm telling you to believe this stuff. I'm just saying that, you know, all of this, like, there's a reason why they pick, you know, this area to go to. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, that's supposed to be the thing. Is they supposed to be rebuilding Solomon's temple? You know what I'm saying? In order so that they could get whatever salvation, but they can't do it. They don't have the power to do it based on whatever you know to my knowledge, based on the deal that Saladin made, uh, with Richard the Lionheart. You know what I'm saying? That at that time, the Christians that was, they was allowed to come in and worship and all of that, you know what I'm saying, and not have their heads taken. You said, how much stock do you put in what's going on over there versus building over here? I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not, the international geopolitics is, I'm aware of it. You know what I'm saying? But, everything on that level is like espionage. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, that's one of the things I'm going to be covering. It's this Chinese man that's been coming on my live feed. I mean, on my feed, right? For like maybe the last couple of months. And whenever he comes on, he's talking about historical events, right? But he always got like a different perspective on it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't know. It's like, is this just like, because everybody don't learn the same history. Like, see, in America, we learn that uh, Dwight Eisenhower and the American Army won World War II. But in England, they learned that a dude named Montgomery won World War II. You know what I'm saying? And in Russia, they learned that a dude named Zhukov in the Russian army won World War II. So, different people, they got what they got in their history books. You know what I'm saying? But uh, so saying that to say that, I don't know if that's the perspective he's coming from, or is he, a government agent that's, this stuff is coming on my feed now to, plant seeds in my head, you know what I'm saying, about various events. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. On that international level like that, you don't even know these people be lying. Like, I'm gonna say straight up, it's not that you don't know that they telling the truth. They be lying. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, it's like, especially with things that's going on right now, I don't expect to know the actual truth for some years. You know what I'm saying? By the time the truth come out, this will no longer be an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, see, now the truth came out a lot about, how the pandemic got started, right? A lot of things that people say, oh, you conspiracy theories. Then the truth comes out years later. Oh, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I was right about that. So that's one of the reasons why, uh, I don't get, but, so involved with that. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, the other government is lying to you, and our government is lying to you too. So you got two people lying. You know what I'm saying? What you gonna do, man? Says so these cats carpet bomb a country and they can't get the Solomon's Temple building. I mean, apparently, G, that's what's happening. You know, like to my knowledge, that's a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Is Don Bishop on here? He might know a little more about that, but that's one of the things that they doing when they go over to the Wailing Wall is they praying for the temple to be built back. You said it's where Jesus buried, the main spot you're talking about. Uh, they don't know where Jesus is buried. I mean, they know it's Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but no, I mean, of course, like I said, man, I hate talking about this stuff like I can show and prove it. But look, this is the story that this is what they activated on. You know what I'm saying? But Jesus is not buried in Solomon's temple. You know what I'm saying? Now there is a place that I saw, uh, you know what I'm saying, where some little caves or something, where they said that this is supposed to be the place where Jesus is buried. But nah, I think it's the Al Aqsa Mosque. Like if you wanna look it up, Google the Al Aqsa Mosque in the history of the Al Aqsa Mosque. You know what I'm saying? And they've been trying all types of stuff. Like a couple times they try to rush it. They try to rush it a couple times. You know what I'm saying? They try to bomb it one time. Then at one time they was like, "Yo, we did some type of sound waves. We did some type of sound waves, and we discovered that it's a chamber under there with all of this ancient knowledge in there. And so, for the good of humanity, we got to go in there." But now it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. I mean, think about it. Do you really think Netanyahu would just be having that there if he had a choice? I mean, I don't know him personally, but just the way he's seen from the outside, I don't think. Yeah, man. But nah, the main spot. Oh, let me see. I think this is how you spell it. I think that's how you spell it right there. You know what I'm saying? And uh, whenever the Romans, remember, they destroyed the temple. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, the Muslims come and take the area over in uh, uh, in the 700s. So yeah, man, you know, got a little something, a little something, I guess, man, for the people to research, you know what I'm saying, when this is over and everything, which is always good look, you know what I'm saying? But at any rate, I'm gonna sign off and say peace.